Hey guys, Blubber here, and today we are going over the history of Greenville. This is just the intro to the video. If you guys want to know what section you want to go, all the timestamps will be in the description down below. Now I'm just going to say this at the start. The main focus of this history video is kind of get backstory behind why Greenville was created, and this video mainly focuses on the development between GV3 and GV4. That is the main focus of this video. I don't go too in depth of GV1 and 2, but the main focus is GV3 into GV4, and just some backstory. There isn't really too much about GV2 and GV1. I had to kind of scramble. Luckily, I was able to get access to a version between GV1 and GV2, but yeah, besides that. And yeah, just another disclaimer before we start, this video isn't 100% accurate. I went to the best of my abilities to keep the video accurate and not overcomplicated. I could go like full in depth, but this video would be like over an hour long, and it'd be super complicated, and no one would probably want to listen to it or do anything. So thanks for understanding that. Anyways, let's get into the video, and thank you so much, Hunter, for, free cam. Thank you. This scene is actually so useful. It makes it really cool for intros and thumbnails. I mean, like, just look how cool this is. But yeah, anyways, let's get into the video, guys. Alright, so for the first section of this video, we have backstory behind Greenville. So in regards to backstory behind Greenville, Milk, also known as Hunter, was actually an admin for Pacifica around 2017 to 2018. When I was actually chatting with Hunter on Discord, he explained the thing that really led him into creating Greenville was the idea of having a driving place / game based on a real town. He also wanted a game where you could drive your own friends and stuff. But this was especially like apparent to him after he made a game called Iron Pine, which we will not be covering because it's the history on Greenville, not Iron Pine. But anyways, he made that game 6 to 7 months before Greenville was made. And yeah, he just wanted a game to drive around with friends and stuff, but he did add in a spawn GUI and all that stuff, so normal people could come and play the game, stuff like that. And around 2 months later, 30 players were playing daily, and then after that, it went and turned into like a full-on actual game. So it originally was not even meant to be like a full-on game. It was just meant to be like a game with, to drive around with his friends and stuff, kind of like to mess around. But it eventually did develop into a game after it got a small player base on it. And yeah, anyways, let's actually hop into GV1, which is our first like full-on like section rather than just like the backstory. All right, so GV1. Now, as stated at the start of the video, I'm not going into detail of GV1 to GV2. The main focus of this video is between GV3 to GV4. That's the main focus. Just disclaimer, like this is very bare bone for GV1 and GV2. But the main focus is GV3 to GV4 because I know most of you guys played in that like quote-unquote era. Anyways, so for GV1, the first version of Greenville was released on October 30th of 2016. This version was very minimal and didn't really have too much detail. Many things were stripped back, and also there was snow everywhere. So I'll get in like a few video clips over this voiceover or some pictures or something. But yeah, there wasn't really too much to it. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to our next section, which is actually a version of Greenville between GV2 and GV1, and it's a bit of like a mixed version where we get to like play Greenville between GV1 and GV2. Okay, so for GV1.5, that's the little nickname I gave it. This version is literally just between GV1 and GV2. Anyway, so thankfully Hunter was kind enough to give me access to this version of the game, and this again was between GV1 and GV2. This is a very cut back version of the game, and you might notice some similarities even to GV4. As you may notice, like Fox Mountain Meg right there, the building that has the bulk and stuff like that, and some older buildings that were actually used all the way up till GV3. And yeah, this is a very cut back version. In this version of the game, there's only one car, which is the Chevy Volt. And yeah, there were some back roads. I actually quite did enjoy the road styling in this version. And there was one house that we're going to drive by in a moment here. It was actually kind of cool. And yeah, but this version was very cut back. And let's move on to the next section. Alright, so now we're on GV2. So GV2 was not by any means big. This version was decently sized, so it had UI, had vehicle UI, you could like select what team you wanted it to be on, stuff like that. And that was actually decently sized for, this game's version. This was GV2, not GV3 or anything, and it had a pretty decently sized map. We had Senex right there. Here we have the fire department, which is drastically different. I mean, like, look at this thing, dude. Yeah, that was the fire department. There's also Allen Insurance right here, which I tried to enter stupidly. But yeah, that used to have no interior. The twist was also much smaller, which is actually kind of crazy to think about. Like, here, I'll go inside in a moment here. Yeah, here we go. We are now going inside. Look how small it is compared to like the current one. Like, this is tiny. It's crazy to think that this was originally the twist. In a moment here, we'll also be going, and I'll show you guys the old subway. This subway actually lasted through quite a few game. I'm pretty sure this went all the way up to GV4, honestly. I can't exactly remember, though. Yeah, subway was around for quite a long time. And yeah, I mean, like, this was a pretty substantial game. It wasn't big, but yeah, I also had the main avenue right here, which I actually quite like. They had Fox Mountain, the place where Bulk is, and all that stuff. They also had, oh yeah, this is really, really cool. So this is how we used to paint our cars in GV2, which is kind of crazy. You would just literally select what color you want and drive through this like paint shop. It was really just a car wash, but it painted your car. It's actually really cool. And of course, GV2 had the infamous 6 houses. It still is known as 6 houses, but you know, it is what it is. It's not really 6 houses anymore. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to our next section. Alright, and now we're on the initial release of GV3. So this was GV3's original release. I decided to start in the dealership because that was probably one of the most substantial things. The dealership was fully redone. There was actually a full-on dealership now. And in my opinion, this was actually really well done dealership. I quite enjoyed it. I kind of miss it sometimes. And this was the old GUI, which is actually very, very nostalgic when I was using it. I quite like it, but I do prefer the new one we have. Everything was to the side, although this was shortly changed. I believe it was changed midway through GV3 or towards the end of GV3 that was changed. And there was also some graphic settings, stuff like that. But yeah, honestly, this was a huge leap from what we had in GV2. You might notice the roads were also a bit different here, and also they had an older RAV4, which I wish the newer Greenville would have that RAV4. I don't know why, I just like it. But yeah, roads were changed. They had a lot more buildings, like you see Toys for Trucks there, you see the vet clinic, Vox Mountain's also there. There was also a bit more trees in here compared to other versions. I don't know, in earlier versions they loved using trees for some reason, which I actually really like the trees. I feel like it adds more depth. There we have Senex. There is the old Senex intersection as well. This version did have Twist, Subway, Allen Insurance, and all of that stuff. Twist was still small, although, you know, it is what it is, right? You can't really do... I believe Twist was updated towards the end of GV3. And Allen Insurance now had a interior, which was... It might seem kind of cool, but it was honestly very, very bare bones. Like, I remember we used to come in here in RP in here when it looks like this, which... You know, it is what it is, right? It wasn't crazy or anything, but at least it had a interior. Jeez, my voice. There was also a little neighborhood right there. But yeah, there were a lot of trees used on the roads and stuff like this. This area was in general very, very empty. Also, cars were very prone to rolling over. That was one thing that they just rolled over a ton load. Although thankfully the game would re-roll them over for you. Imagine how annoying it'd be if they didn't. That was also the old fire department right there, or fire station. Also, one more thing, they did have the 3 houses off the main road. And yeah, that's kind of it for GV3, guys. Let's hop into our next section. Okay, and now we're on the GV3.5 is what I call it, also known as the GV3 Mid-Release. Now, I also did start this this section off in the dealership because it was the same dealership, but a good amount of new cars were actually added to this version of the game. As you see, I'm going through these right here. A bunch more cars were added. Especially in SUVs and sedans, a huge amount of new cars were added there. I'll let you guys take a look for yourselves. But yeah, all through the GV3 kind of era, it's very similar, just like slight changes, more content, more or less. Also, all the GUI stuff was moved to the top of the screen instead of the side, which is really good. But otherwise, they were all kind of like the same. You could choose jobs and stuff. There was a store. But yeah, it's basically the exact same thing as the initial release, just they removed locations, stuff like that. You know what I mean, right? But also, in this version, they added the Burger King area, slash kind of like laundry cleaners, little gas station there, and then that was the original drag strip, actually. So it wasn't a huge dome, it was a little tiny drag strip, which was actually really cool. You could start it yourself, stuff like that. This area was also updated. As you see, there's so many huge and tall trees now that I honestly kind of miss the tall trees. I understand why they got rid of them though. They don't really match with Greenville, but it kind of gives up a really cool vibe with the really, really tall trees, especially down towards Senex. Look how tall these trees are. It's kind of crazy, although it does feel a bit unrealistic if I'm being 100% honest. And yeah, there were some good changes. Well, there were a lot of good changes, but nothing substantial. There was the new clinic slash hospital over there to our left, which I drive over to. And yeah, that neighborhood was also updated, which I'll go over in a second from now. But yeah, this hospital was added to the game. Pretty cool, if you ask me. And yeah, this neighborhood was also updated with 2 admin houses. Unfortunately, I couldn't enter them, so I didn't bother. There was also the WSP station right there. That was the original WSP station. So the new one you guys have is pretty cool, if you ask me. There's also this campsite at the back of the map, which was super, super cool. I wish we had something like this in the newer Greenville, because this campsite is so cool. I might honestly do a RP video. Would you guys want to see a camping RP video? I'd totally be down to do that here. But yeah, actually, if we go back here, there's like a bunch of tents, there's a bonfire, all that type of stuff. It's actually really cool. And yeah, this version was just very like naturist, I guess you could say. Is that even a word? I don't think it is. There was also these neighborhoods around the back of the map. These were added as well. I used to love these neighborhoods for RP. And yeah, that's it for GV 3.5, or the mid-release to GV3. And let's move on to our final release to GV3. All right, we are now at the GV3 Final Release. So yeah, this was the final version of Greenville V3 before the revamp. So here's the dealership. You can tell it looks quite different. I actually really do like the design of this. You go in here, there's a bunch of cars right here with a forward edge, camera, all that stuff. Oh, it appears I accidentally opened the menu. Okay, and this is the menu for the dealership. It does kind of feel outdated, I'll be honest, but there are quite a few cars actually. I wish a lot of these cars are going to be added to the current Greenville, because there's a lot of really cool cars in this one. Like for example, this car right here, so cool. We could totally have that in the new Greenville. I'd love to have that. And like this car too, for example, like just you know what I mean, right? It had a ton of sedans, even more SUVs, I believe. Actually, I don't know about that, but there were a lot of cars for the final version of GV3. And yeah, that's the dealership. So the dealership was changed. It does look pretty good. The basic things up here, like GUI, was kept basically the exact same. Yeah. Anyways, here, like basically the same thing. What mainly changed for this like version of Greenville was the way the roads look and the way the map felt in general. Oh yeah, this minivan, super memorable. This thing goes so fast. Like this is a sleeper. But yeah, we had the roundabouts here. All the roads were like really dark black. I actually missed the dark black. I don't know. I kind of just liked it. McDonald's was updated to that. Or McDolland's is what it used to be called. That area was changed to a car wash compared to older versions. We saw the community area. Then there was this neighborhood over here, which will take us a moment here. But yeah, there was this back road. I really do miss those like red dividers things everywhere. There was the visitors sports grill area. This is actually it is in GV4, but there's no interior for some reason, which is, I just kind of find that dumb. Like we could totally have an interior. And my minivan took off. Nice. But yeah, the visitors grill actually had an interior in GV3, so it kind of feels like a misstep back without one in GV4. Anyways, then there was this new neighborhood. I actually really like this neighborhood. If we go back to like some like really old car reviews, I do usually start in this neighborhood. Really cool. I'm gonna go over it. Actually, was there any? Yeah, there was. Okay, I need to like sprint over there real quick. Apologies, guys. It's gonna take us a moment to get over there. But yeah, look how fast this is a minivan, by the way. Like here, what year is it actually? A 2013 Toyota Sienna. Oh yeah, that was a drag strip. So it was a huge box in this version, which I don't understand why, but you know, it is what it is, right? Yeah. So there was a huge lane drag strip, and yeah, let's go to the other part of it. And also, one thing you might also notice is there were a lot of like fields with actual like details. There was toys for trucks, obviously, and in this version, the vet clinic did have an interior. I believe I might have had one in the mid-release of GV3 as well. There were also houses along the road here that were added, and also just a few houses back there as well, which is actually pretty similar to the current new neighborhood we just got in Greenville. I'm trying to like think of areas that I have not done yet. There were a ton of houses added to the road over there. Of course, the cows right there. More farm roads. This area is very similar. And this is when these side roads were so cool. I wish these were in the GV4. I don't understand why they're not. 6 houses again. Then there was also this custom admin house at the end of the road here. Again, I cannot enter that because I do not have admin privileges. So I'm sorry, guys. I would totally show that though, but unfortunately I cannot. But yeah, this was like OG 6 houses. I miss OG 6 houses, but the new one we got is actually kind of like low-key better, so I'm not complaining at all. And yeah, this version also had a good amount of trees. I miss Greenville having a lot of trees, actually. Also, I'm sorry, I do not have private server commands, so part of this will have to be nighttime. There was Cenex, of course. There was the national park that is no longer in Greenville. There's now a daycare there. The twist was still tiny. In the revamp is when the twist was like actually like made into a big building. Subway got a new logo. If you look over there, Allen Insurance is, Allen Insurance. The clinic is right there. Then there's a bunch of like buildings over here, like not buildings, I mean houses. This area was actually used to be pretty popular with RP, if I'm being 100% honest. Like this area used to get like a bunch of RP attention when it first came out. And Toys for Trucks was actually right over here, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, that's where Toys for Trucks used to be. And then of course we had the WSP station right here. It was much updated. Same with the fire station right there. Like these two buildings were updated from being like tiny little buildings, which is very, very exciting to see. And yeah, I believe this version also had the tax office. So we go to the end of the road down here. We can go find the tax office. Also, unfortunately, the camp area was removed in this version of Greenville. So yeah, I guess that area is only available in the mid, or was it? Yeah, I believe it's mid-release to GV3 or initial release to GV3. Yeah, there was also a post office over here that was added, and yeah, that's kind of it for GV3, guys. And yeah, let's move on to our next section of the video. Hey guys, so now we're in kind of like the longer, or not really, the more detailed or like more personal part of this video. So this is the area where we are looking at projects that were worked on during like when GV was getting revamped. So there were a few games that Hunter actually and his devs worked on, which were Sunset Valley, Throttle Rush, and Appleton. And they were basically shelved / canned projects that Hunter worked on because he wanted to work on other things in Greenville. And these games were actually publicized at the time. So they were worked on mainly due to free time, and he also wanted to like do some stuff that like good ideas that would maybe come to Greenville, stuff like that. I also wanted to test out some features that would eventually come to Greenville / were planned for Greenville. So going on to Sunset Valley / Throttle Rush, the map is those maps were actually designed by a friend of his named Stylish, and that person is actually working on a game called Allure Vitesse. I actually did a video on it like 9 or so months ago. Really good game from what I could tell. And Appleton was the idea of expanding into a new area. Basically, like Appleton, I'm pretty sure IRL is very close to Greenville in real life, so it basically like be a game based on that area rather than what Greenville is, and the time period for that game would have been set in like the 90s. So essentially the development for this game did not go through because A, Greenville is more of a priority to work on than any of those other projects, and B, they were very ambitious with what they were offering gameplay wise, especially at the time with how little developers Hunter had. And those games host features such as the idea of wiper, start / stop buttons, and eventually more stuff that would come to Greenville. So basically those games were side projects that were worked on the devs, basically whenever they had free time and stuff like that, but Greenville was always the top priority. And at this point they are pretty outdated, and yeah, that's kind of it to it. I'll play like a bit of I'll play a clip of the trailer or like teaser of Throttle Rush that I actually showed on my teaser for this series. And yeah, that's this clip right here. All right, so we are now on to kind of like the Greenville revamp development the development progress part of this video. So I couldn't actually find a precise date when like the revamp was announced. Earliest I could go back was August of 2018, which is actually really long ago. That's like 3 years ago actually. And of course, we all know the revamp was released in September of 2020. There's like a huge trailer and everything, but unfortunately that trailer has been shut down from my knowledge. Although I do have a bunch of trailer videos, so go to my channel if you guys want to see what the trailer was. Basically, it was just like a thing with a bunch of planned cars and everything. Southwest Florida actually has one for themselves. But yeah, there's not really too much to disclose about it. Basically, the revamp took like approximately like 2 or so years to complete, and actually I do have a version of Greenville that I'm gonna play right now that actually is a version right before the revamp. I'm not gonna go into too much because I literally have a whole entire video dedicated to that version, But yeah, anyways, let's hop into the version that was right before the revamp even released. Okay guys, we are now in the version of Greenville. This was right before the revamp actually released, so there's not gonna be too many differences. So here's the dealership, basically almost the exact same as our current Greenville we have, although the interface was drastically different for this version. Here it is. Also, there were a lot of unreleased cars. I literally have I have 2 full videos going through like a bunch of unreleased cars. I'll have those linked down below if you guys are interested in that, because surely you guys want to check out all the unreleased cars, like some Chryslers, the Porsche Carrera, Hellcat Journey Red Eye right there. And yeah, it was very different. The Truckla as well. And yeah, it was just really cool. So like, for example, let's buy the Truckla, because, you know, why not? So this is what it used to look like. It's very similar to what we have right now, but just a tiny bit of an a tiny bit of a different, not interest interface. But yeah, almost the exact same interface wise. But here, let's go. Also, this version of Greenville, basically all the cars had working wipers, which is really cool. But here, although AEB was not a thing in this Greenville version. So anyways, let's go over here. If you notice one thing for sure, it is the terrain. So this is what Greenville actually looked like right before it released. They decided not to go ahead with this stuff, mainly due to lag and stuff like that, because it was very laggy for some users. Here, the roundabouts too. But yeah, not roundabouts. They used to actually have like full-on terrain. They also had this building right here. It's like a little diner or something that never made it into the revamp. But yeah, they actually use like full-on terrain out here, which is pretty crazy. And they had a lot of cool cars. And again, I have a whole entire video dedicated going over the cars, which I can leave in the description down below. Although I'm sure most of my subscribers have already seen that. But if you're new to the channel, feel free to go check them out. Yeah, they had like full-on like dirt trails and everything. And yeah, that's kind of it to this version, honestly. Like, that's like the only major difference. Like, this was right before the revamp released. So like the main difference is the cars and kind of like the terrain added and stuff. And I decided to go with this version because this was like the most substantial GV4 GV revamp build. That's not the official revamp. Another cool thing was also how the car wash was actually in the middle of the map where 6 houses usually is. Like, imagine if this was here in the like normal GV we have right now. It'd actually be very, very convenient. And yeah, they also had like a bunch of off-road tracks like that, terrain and everything. And yeah, anyways, that's kind of it. Again, I have like 2 full videos on this version of Greenville alone, which I'll leave in the description. And yeah, let's move on to our final part of the video, which is GV4. Alright, so we are now in the final part of the video, which is the official Greenville revamp, or as I call GV4 all the time, even though it's not really called GV4. Yeah, here it is. It has the same dealership, basically like the same everything. Well, not really everything. It has a lot of similarities to the version we were just in. But let's go over a lot of differences, actually. Here, this is actually the dealership. A bunch more filters. There was actually a brand new update recently. I'm not going to be going over the individual updates of this game. I have a bunch of update videos. You guys can go check out. You guys want to see like how GV4 started to how it is now. But yeah, look at all these cars. A bunch of new cars too. Really cool cars, by the way. Greenville 4 was the first one to have like proper convertibles, by the way, which is super cool. We'll go over that in a moment here. But yeah, like just look at all these cars. Absolutely crazy. It like takes a lot of cars. If I go through to like sedans, for example, just like that's a lot of cars to go through. Just so many cars there. You can also sort by year, brand, low to high, brand as well, pass, and yeah. Also, one thing I totally forgot to mention when going over the dealership is each car now has specs available. And yeah, that's really cool. Like, you can have specs and all that stuff. You can check your range of your car, horsepower, top speed, weight, drivetrain, and seating. Anyways, back to the video. This game had a lot of cool things. I'm not going to go over them in any particular order, but for example, you can now have up to 24 cars if you own the Game Pass for it. Convertibles can now be toggled. So for example, if we spawn in my, let me find my Rolls Royce. Where did it go? Oh no. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we have my Rolls Royce right here. So for example, this is convertible, but you can enable or disable your convertible being up or down. So actually, the reason why I thought I should show you, like, these are really like detailed cars, like super detailed. They have like full-on interiors. I know some cars in earlier Greenvilles did have interiors, but this version just went to the next extreme with it, and it's just crazy detailed. And also recently a bunch of like, I'm pretty sure some Greenville content creators got free cams, so that's also something new. But yeah, just like the designs of cars have been drastically improved. And we all got interiors and stuff. Another thing I thought I should show you, unfortunately I cannot give an example, but I do have a video testing out AEB. So a lot of cars got AEB, which is really, really cool. And yeah, I have a whole entire video. I can just look it up on my channel, just search Blubber AEB on YouTube. You'll be able to find a whole entire video series of me testing out AEB on cars. And also better water physics right there. As we drive around the map, you might notice some differences as there's no building over it. Actually, there is. There's Hunty's Pizza. I crashed. I apologize. Yeah, this version of Greenville has a bunch of buildings around the map, which make it look a lot more lively. There's Burger Haas right there, an actual car wash that properly works, which I can kind of briefly show you. A different gas station right there, which is kind of tall. But yeah, gas stations now actually like are really cool and work in this version of Greenville, which is super, super cool. And yeah, that building's still like the same right there, but yeah, we have a Hunty's Pizza, a bunch of warehouses over there as well. And it's just kind of crazy to like, I'll like take a drive around the map and stuff. I'm going to stay quiet and we're going to take a drive around the map because there's a lot of stuff in this version of Greenville. Oh yeah, and as we're kind of driving around, one thing I should totally go over is the DMV that was added. So here, let's go over the DMV real quick. So this is the DMV, which was added not too long ago. I believe it's the update before the last one. And yeah, you can choose a bunch of license plates. The most recent update, they added Canadian plates, which is really, really cool. They added every single territory and province besides Northwest Territories. And yeah, you can like have custom plates, custom designs on it and everything. And yeah, anyways, let's go back to like driving around the map though. Actually, wait, I totally forgot. One thing I totally should go over as we're driving around before I speed it up again is actually how cars get dirty now. So if you drive in like dirt or grass really fast, your car will progressively get dirty. So here, let's do that. You might notice how my car is getting dirty. Here we go. See, notice how like it's all like kind of getting dirty and stuff. So now we can go take it to a car wash and we can go get it cleaned. So let's start with the car wash. And one more thing I should also mention, now each car has their own MPG and stuff like that, which I will show in the dealership. I'm gonna have to like edit in a part where I show like the stats, but each car has their own MPG and stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, let's go through the dealership. We should probably have our roof up for this. But yeah, anyways, it kind of showcases the car wash though when we go through here. So, and yeah, it cleans your car for you. Anyways, yeah, let's go back to the time lapse of the map. Also, Toys for Trucks was replaced with that building right there, Truck Planet, which is really cool. I do go over that in my recent update video if you guys are interested in checking that out in detail. They also added in that neighborhood recently as well. And Fox Mountain is pretty different in this version. Yeah, this version is just ultimately really different compared to what we had in GV3. And it's kind of crazy to think about. There's 6 houses, but it's not really 6 houses anymore. One thing I should totally go over though is the lake houses that were actually added over here. So yeah, we actually got lake houses, which is really crazy to think about actually. So here, let's go over. So yeah, lake houses right here. We got a whole entire lake, by the way, if you guys did not notice by any chance. So yeah, lake houses are really cool. I won't be going in depth because I have update videos on like all the GV4 updates, so I can't really go in depth with these. But yeah, there we do have lake houses, and yeah. There's also the daycare that was added in this version of Greenville. This did replace the park though, unfortunately. I do miss the park, but I'm fine with I am 100% fine with the daycare though. And Twist was also updated in the revamp, which is super cool. Now it's not tiny anymore. It's actually really sensibly like large, although the interior isn't anything special. And yeah, they also added in this new like tech building over here for like computer parts, stuff like that. That's kind of weirdly shaped, but yeah. And also all the houses are brand new in the revamp, which you can buy them and enter them. Subway was also refreshed in a recent update. And yeah, it actually looks 10 times better now in my opinion. Like, look at that. That looks way, way better. And also, Rapid Wash was moved over here since that other version, so it's now kind of in this area, which I don't really know. It's a good location, but it's just very inconvenient. There was also the saloon and some stores over there as well. Now let's head over to the high school, because that location was actually, like, the placement of the high school was actually pretty drastically changed. It's now all the way over here, instead of, like, being off to the side like it was in the previous version. I'm not really sure why it was moved. I don't know, it's not really near anything anymore. Which I don't know if it's 100% accurate to real life or not. I don't know. I don't live in Greenville. Yeah, here it is. Same one from from that final version of GV3. And yeah, here it is. All the way back here though. And yeah, honestly, that's kind of it, guys, for this video. It's been really weird making this video. A funny thing about this is through making this video, I've had to re-record so many parts because I've literally had video clips go corrupted, which is really sad because that means I did have to like redo some parts, which really sucks. And that's why it was pushed back quite a bit actually. But yeah, I made sure to make the deadline on Friday. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I couldn't really go too much in depth without like having an hour-long video. Like we went barely in depth, barely touched upon a lot of stuff, and this video is still like almost 30 minutes long. And yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.